The atmosphere at the live interview was charged as a liberal reporter relentlessly pressed Keanu Reeves with the same pointed question, repeating it despite his clear responses. Her persistence was meant to unsettle and provoke, but Keanu remained composed, refusing to be baited. Instead, he delivered a calm yet devastating reply that dismantled her line of questioning and exposed the futility of her tactics. The exchange quickly became a viral sensation, with viewers applauding Keanu's poise and sharp intellect. How did he turn repeated provocation into a masterful moment of control? The story begins now. The reporter pressed again, insisting on an answer to a loaded question she had already asked twice, her tone increasingly aggressive. The audience grew restless, sensing the tension build. Keanu's eyes remained steady, his voice calm but firm as he addressed her. "I have answered that question clearly," he said, "and repeating it does not change the answer." His words cut through the noise, revealing the futility of her tactic. The reporter faltered, realizing her strategy had failed to rattle him. The room shifted from tension to respect as Keanu took control of the narrative with quiet confidence, turning the interview into a lesson in patience and authority. Unwilling to back down, the reporter pushed the same question a third time, hoping to catch Keanu off guard or force a contradictory response. Instead, Keanu's demeanor remained unshaken. He leaned forward slightly, his tone calm but resolute. "Persistence is admirable," he said gently, "but respect is essential. Repeating a question does not grant it new weight or validity." The audience responded with a collective nod, impressed by his ability to maintain composure. Keanu's poised rebuttal exposed the emptiness behind the reporter's insistence, highlighting the importance of meaningful dialogue over repetitive provocation. The interviewer's attempts to unsettle him were met with grace and unwavering control, turning the tables completely. As the reporter stumbled for her next words, the tension in the room became palpable. Keanu, still calm, seized the opportunity to shift the narrative, making a powerful point about the importance of dialogue that fosters understanding rather than confrontation. "It's not about who can ask the loudest or the most questions," he said, his voice steady, "but about how we choose to listen and respect the conversation." His words, simple yet profound, echoed throughout the room. The reporter, now visibly frustrated, realized that her attempts to provoke him had not only failed but had backfired. Keanu's quiet authority had transformed the moment, shifting the focus from her relentless questioning to the deeper values of respect and meaningful engagement. The crowd, who had once been on edge, now respected Keanu more than ever for handling the situation with such dignity. The reporter, now completely disarmed by Keanu's composed response, attempted to shift the conversation, but the damage was already done. Keanu had turned the moment from a confrontation into a teaching moment. The room's atmosphere had completely changed. What was meant to be a moment of public humiliation had evolved into a powerful display of character and composure. Keanu's calmness not only silenced the reporter, but also shifted the conversation back to what truly mattered: respect in communication. His message resonated with the audience, leaving them not only in awe of his poise but also with a renewed sense of what it means to engage with integrity. The reporter, now realizing her error, offered a hesitant apology, but Keanu, without skipping a beat, simply nodded and smiled, reaffirming the importance of maintaining grace under pressure. The aftermath of the interview left an indelible mark on both the media world and the audience. Keanu's ability to remain composed and graceful in the face of persistent provocation became a lesson in emotional intelligence and restraint. Social media was flooded with praise, and many pointed out how his calm, thoughtful approach had transformed what could have been a hostile exchange into an enlightening moment. The reporter, having realized the futility of her line of questioning, issued a public apology, acknowledging her mistake and the professionalism Keanu had shown. In interviews following the incident, Keanu remained humble, deflecting attention from himself and instead emphasizing the importance of mutual respect in public discourse. He spoke about how meaningful conversations are built on listening and understanding, not on trying to win a battle of words. This moment became a defining example of how to handle adversity with dignity and wisdom. As the weeks passed, the incident continued to reverberate across social media, television networks, and news outlets. Keanu's composed handling of the situation was discussed widely, not just in the context of celebrity, but as a broader lesson for anyone facing public scrutiny or conflict. The conversation shifted from sensationalism to reflection. What does it truly mean to engage with respect, and how can we challenge others without resorting to conflict? Keanu's influence extended beyond just the realm of entertainment. His actions sparked a larger conversation about how public figures and people in general should respond to criticism or provocation. Leadership was no longer seen just in terms of authority or power, but in the ability to remain calm, to speak with clarity, and to lift others up instead of tearing them down. The reporter, having learned from her misstep, took a break from the limelight to reflect on her approach. Keanu's grace under pressure had not only transformed the dynamic of that interview, but it also inspired many to reconsider how they handle their own difficult moments. As the weeks passed, the incident continued to reverberate across social media, television networks, and news outlets. Keanu's composed handling of the situation was discussed widely, not just in the context of celebrity, but as a broader lesson for anyone facing public scrutiny or conflict. The conversation shifted from sensationalism to reflection. What does it truly mean to engage with respect, and how can we challenge others without resorting to conflict? Keanu's influence extended beyond just the realm of entertainment. His actions sparked a larger conversation about how public figures and people in general should respond to criticism or provocation. Leadership was no longer seen just in terms of authority or power, but in the ability to remain calm, to speak with clarity, and to lift others up instead of tearing them down. The reporter, having learned from her misstep, took a break from the limelight to reflect on her approach. Keanu's grace under pressure had not only transformed the dynamic of that interview, but had also inspired many to reconsider how they handle their own difficult moments. As the story continued to spread, Keanu's poised response became a case study in conflict resolution, showing how power could be wielded through calmness and integrity. Media outlets and commentators began emphasizing the importance of handling criticism with dignity, citing Keanu's example as a model for maintaining self-control in the face of provocation. Public figures from all walks of life shared how they'd been inspired by Keanu's ability to rise above negativity, with many commenting on how such a response could lead to more constructive and respectful dialogue in today's polarized world. The liberal reporter, now publicly acknowledging her error, apologized and reflected on the lesson she had learned from the encounter. Keanu's quiet strength had not only silenced a moment of confrontation, but had also sparked a broader movement towards empathy, thoughtful dialogue, and humility in the face of conflict. As the months passed, Keanu's response continued to resonate across various sectors, from media to education. Workshops on emotional intelligence and conflict resolution began using Keanu's example to teach others how to handle challenging situations with grace and respect. The liberal reporter, who had once hoped to provoke a scandal, now found herself reflecting on the power of words and the importance of humility in her own professional life. Meanwhile, Keanu remained as humble and grounded as ever, his quiet influence spreading far beyond the entertainment industry. His ability to turn a potentially hostile moment into a lesson in dignity became a model for how to navigate modern public discourse with kindness and respect. What was once seen as a simple interview moment had grown into a broader movement, sparking conversations about empathy and the power of calm resilience in an increasingly divided world. Keanu's example continued to inspire people from all walks of life. His poised response became a symbol of how true strength is found in humility and self-control. In the face of criticism, the greatest response is to listen, reflect, and engage with respect, Keanu said in a rare interview reflecting on the incident. His words resonated deeply with those seeking ways to navigate conflict without escalating it. The story of the interview became a reminder to rise above the noise, to lead with dignity, and to always strive for understanding. Keanu's legacy of grace and integrity left a lasting impact, not just in the media world, but in the hearts of millions around the globe. Please subscribe channel for Keanu Reeves. Respect. Thanks.